right, welcome to another episode of Fantasy Football Now. We're going to be taking our time through the NFC North. And
everyone's probably like, what dance was that? I'm sorry, I didn't interrupt you, but I don't know what I was just... I got the bang feeling, you know what I'm saying?
The bang feeling. You're really hunting for that sponsorship there. So...
We're making a TikTok too, Bang. I know you like TikTok people.
What is your overall feeling of this division?
NFC North. I feel like every single team needs to prove something this year.
I agree.
Green Bay had 13 wins last year, which I'm like, that's great. But the playoffs just was like, what happened? And now Aaron Rodgers, they picked up, Love, the quarterback?
Yep.
In the draft. And wasn't there so many memes going around being like Aaron Rodgers' face?
I mean, they certainly essentially said F you, Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
That sounds like a great transition to let's start about
let's go to Green Bay. Yeah, let's
Packers.
do it. Let's do it.
All right, so let's start. Quarterback. Aaron Rodgers. My hot take, Aaron Rodgers is not a top 15 quarterback. He's not a top 10 quarterback. Aaron Rodgers should be only drafted as a QB2 in deeper leagues. He does not have the weapons. He does not have the talent at coaching. They are at maintain. They think their Super Bowl window is through running the ball. And so because they think
agree with
that it's through running the ball, they are putting essentially a harness on one of the best quarterbacks of all time. And if I was Aaron Rodgers, my timetable in Green Bay is coming, or my time in Green Bay is coming to an end, and I am looking for a win now team in the future.
Yeah, I agree. Aaron Rodgers used to be awesome.
He's still awesome. He's still an awesome quarterback. He's just not being given the weapons he needs to maintain that production.
Yeah. Jordan Love, kind of funny. First round pick. The funny thing is with Aaron Rodgers, though, is that he's shown in the past that if someone pisses on, he's kind of like Tom Brady. If someone pisses him off, the next year it's like, all right, fine. I'll show you up with over 4,500 passing yards, 30-plus touchdowns.
Yep.
So
he's absolutely a vengeance play.
Yeah. So I'm very curious to see if he does do that this year. I agree that the strategy is going to be a running concept, a running strategy. They picked up A.J. Dillon from Boston College. So with the second round pick, he's a beast. He's 250 pounds. They say he's got like a build almost like Derrick Henry. So if they have this 1-2 punch in the backfield with Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon, it's kind of like, a lot of wildcat, a lot of split back. They might just go I call it the old school Steelers way, where Bettis was back there and literally it was run, then pass, and it was so annoying to see that because I'm like, guys, it's 3rd and 6. Everyone and their mother knows you're going to be passing this ball.
Yeah. No, that's totally what they're going to do. The other thing is that this is like a huge step back for the free Aaron Jones movement. I don't know what needs to happen in the fantasy football community or in the football community as a whole to give Aaron Jones his solo backfield. Like, the dude has been a stud for 2 years and is having, crazy yards per carry, through the roof touchdown production, and they're like, well, we still need to do a mix up here.
Yeah. Definitely takes a hit for Aaron Jones owners. Not so much as a worry. His ADP probably would go down just a smidge when that happened. Now everything's all set in stone. Aaron Jones is still a top 10 running back.
He's going 13th on Football Guys.
Oh, my bad. So top 15, we'll say.
Yeah, and his average draft position is late second round.
Yeah.
Which,
so he's your RB1. He's your RB1.
Yes, he is your RB1, unless you have like if you're doing, where
Dynasty leagues or something.
Yeah,
or...
I mean, you could technically stack Aaron Jones and Zeke, and
if you want to go back-to-back running backs.
Yeah, and I think this year a stack on Zeke and Aaron Jones might not be that bad. I'm not particularly super excited. Like, I think that because of the moves of the Packers, I'm not super excited about anybody in this offense.
What about, let's continue and we can move on to wide receiver then.
Yeah, just so that we finish out at running back, we've got Jamal Williams, A.J. Dillon, Tyler Ervin, Dexter Williams.
Yeah.
I don't think most of these guys are not worth your time, especially in a traditional redraft league. Jamal Williams, I don't think he's going to make it for cut day. I think he's a good player who will land on another team, but he is not going to make it on this roster. All right, so moving to wide receivers.
Yes.
So
Davante Adams was hurt. Or just got hurt. Whoa, squeaky voice. What is in this? After a while of drinking Bang, your voice starts to change. You're coming in and out of puberty. That's beautiful.
Yep, that's how they give you the energy.
That's right. Watch as you become a man.
Right.
Or not a man.
Again and again and again.
Yeah, again and again and again. And then tomorrow. Repeat, watch, rinse, repeat the cycle.
Right.
Okay, so Davante Adams, he got hurt, his foot ankle injury. It's not as bad as people thought it was. He actually returned to practice on Saturday. So I'm not really worried about that. His value is still incredibly high, top 5 wide receiver. He is ranked very debatable, number 2. I think that might be a little too high, to be honest.
I personally like Julio Jones more than Davante Adams, just for consistency's sake.
Mr. Reliable.
Yeah. But I mean, we're realistically talking within 6 picks. The end of the first to the beginning of the second round. Davante Adams at the 8th pick feels a little too rich for my blood. I'm not super excited about him at that position. Running back is such a value this year. Like in those top picks, you have to do it. So I'm with you. I think he's overvalued at the
just a smidge. I mean, we're not talking like he doesn't belong in that tier group. I mean, Michael Thomas is alone. That's his own.
Yep.
That's his own tier by himself. And then the Adams, Julio Jones, Tyreek Hill is probably a good tier 2, and then there's like 20 after that.
Right.
And so it's like, no, he belongs in that tier section, top 5 with the Julio Jones, Tyreek Hill, but I would not put him above Julio Jones or even Tyreek Hill. I put him probably number 4.
Yeah, overall. I mean, you're looking at the opportunities from Tyreek Hill for Patrick Mahomes. They're not the same. Aaron Rodgers is not Patrick Mahomes. Now, it's a different type of player. You're gonna Aaron Rodgers is a kind of a cagey veteran quarterback who's gonna still get you some value on with his legs. But for Davante Adams, if I was another defense, I would just double up on Davante Adams all day, every day, and say, you have to blow out of this, and come get me.
Right. And I feel like that's what they did with Julio Jones last year, which is why Calvin Ridley had a decent year. And so there are RB1s that can handle the double coverage.
Yes,
I think he can. I think he still can. Which is fine. Which is going to be interesting, though, because if that happens, actually, I will rephrase that. When that happens, that means there's going to be another wide receiver that is going to be seeing a ton of looks from Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers needs Mr. Reliable for somebody else. So who do we think that is going to be? Is it going to be Allen Lazard? Maybe. I like that pick, to be honest.
I think Allen Lazard has as good a shot as any of them in this out of this wide receiver group. Just as a quick breakdown of who's currently on there: Allen Lazard, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, Equinemius St. Brown, Jay Kumaro, Reggie Begelton, Malik Turner, Darius Shepard.
Yeah, and then you have good old Devin Funchess.
who opted out this year. And, it's one of those things.
It's so funny that he's just, bouncing around here.
Yeah, and there is the health perspective where I have a valid concern about COVID. We don't know his family situation. But Devin Funchess has been a guy who people have been, critiquing his commitment to the game, since he entered the league. And now he is in his, 5th season? And he still hasn't performed, and he's just a huge body, and people sign him because you can't teach giantness. You can it's just jump ball. That's all.
And
it is. Yeah. And I mean, we have not seen Devin Funchess perform on any team except for he had some flashes with Carolina and Cam Newton.
So Jay Sternberger, are we good to move on with wide receivers? Because I feel that the tight end position now needs to be addressed, considering it's if Alan Lazard is not going to be the guy who he's going to be checking down to for a second option, or is he going to be the second option and then Aaron Jones is the third option to Jay Sternberger only being a red zone target, and that's it.
I don't like any tight ends on a Green Bay system. You have to go back to Jermichael Finley for an effective tight end in a Green Bay offense.
Or that other guy named Rodgers, because they always had the Rodgers to Rodgers completion.
Yeah, that was not, but that was more of a novelty. That wasn't so much a reality. And so
it only happened 1 year, so yeah.
Jermichael Finley was a consistent player, and it was high quality, but I'm staying away from the tight end group. We've got Jay Sternberger, Robert Tonyan. Mercedes Lewis is probably the highest talent, but he's been in the league for so long that you don't know how much is on there.
Too much hype and the time has passed.
Yeah. So. And I think Davante Adams is obviously the one. I think that it goes Alan Lazard as the 2, not Aaron Jones is the 2, not Alan Lazard. Alan Lazard is the 3. And Aaron Jones out of the backfield is going to be, that's going to be the consistent target for Aaron Rodgers. And Aaron Rodgers has, been shown no commitment from this team. So I don't see him being okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put my health on the line and really air out this ball and let somebody square off on me to make those tough throws. I think that he's going to be in body preservation mode, and that hurts this team all from top to bottom.
Right. No, I agree. I agree with that. Rodgers, you already said it. He likes going down the field. He likes moving, and then I have a feeling he's going to thread the needle or push or force a ball that's going to be picked, or
his accuracy. I don't think the pick is as much the concern. The issue is that I could see this being a team that implodes mid-year.
Oh, it could if things don't go on high octane like it should.
Yeah.
The coach mixed with Aaron Rodgers being on tilt, with the double backfield going on, with it could. Yeah.
I think. Yeah. And I think that the other teams in the NFC North are going to make it a competitive season. I think Green Bay and Minnesota are 2 teams that are kind of a class above the rest. But it's still this is their conference. The Packers should be able to take this conference, but I think that there's going to be so much turmoil and so much nonsense, but that we may see a real issue there.
Do you see them having a winning season? I think Vegas has them at 9-6, so barely.
I think 9-6 or
9-7. I'm sorry, 9-7.
Yeah, 9-7. I think 9-7 is acceptable. I don't think betting on a under 9 win season for Aaron Rodgers is ever smart, but it's whether or not they're a wild card or they win the division. I think Minnesota is tougher. I think the defense for Chicago should come back with a vengeance this year.
That quarterback situation. We'll talk about Chicago later, but
So, I mean, when it comes to, the way that this is likely going to play out, I'm not high on Green Bay, but at the same time, like, I think it's if you're in the tail end of your draft and Aaron Rodgers is still on the board, okay, go nuts and see what happens.
Take a flyer, see what happens.
Yep.
All right, well, that does it for this episode. We will find out next episode on who we are going to be talking about. The NFC North team. Could it be the team that does not know who its quarterback's going to be? The team that has the defense pretty much coming back? Or could it be the other team into which Mr. Reliable was at the helm and then completely bombed the whole entire year, into which their head coach this might be his last year if nothing turns around? If you don't know which teams that we're talking about, you're going to have to find out in the next episode. See you later, guys.
See you later.
We'll see you later.
All right, welcome to another episode of Fantasy Football Free-for-All with Aaron and Will. We are talking the Chicago Bears.
Oh, you just hurt my dance rhythm.
No kidding. This is a team that I want no part of. None. I don't even want to talk about it, but we've gotta. So let's hop in with this team that is
this naggy team. No, that's the pun. Yeah. I like the pun. That was good.
Man, Mitchell Trubisky, Nick Foles. I don't like this
we'll start with quarterback
room.
Yep.
Oh my goodness. Don't draft either of these guys. Like, there is no reason. Mitchell Trubisky
Are you drinking Bang over there? Because
no.
It said it's supposed to give you potent brain power.
I can tell you you don't need
everything that you're saying right now is just...
You don't need potent brain power to choose anyone other than Mitchell Trubisky. And then you've got BD Nick Foles. And Nick Foles...
BD?
He's Big Dick Nick. So... Nick Foles.
Wow, I did not know that was his nickname at all.
Yeah, because he steps in the crunch time, and he led the Eagles to that Super Bowl, and was Super Bowl MVP, blah blah blah. But that doesn't make you a fantasy football quarterback. Mm-hmm. Don't go near either of these guys. Mitch Trubisky. This is the last year of his time. I think that we will see a changing of the guard. 2 years ago he was a viable fantasy quarterback. He had some good runs. He had good options in the backfield. He had solid wide receiver play. Mm-hmm. Last year he sucked. That's plain and simple. He sucked, and there's been no substantial upgrade, and if you can't make something work with Allen Robinson, Anthony Miller, you're the problem, and that's where we're at. He's the problem.
Yeah, we talked before how Tom Brady makes wide receivers. These two, Allen Robinson and Anthony Miller, is making Trubisky not look good, but just have stats, have something.
Yeah.
It's just give them the ball and they'll do something with it. It's kind of like DJ Moore out in Carolina, making Allen have something because DJ Moore is such a stellar athlete. Well, they're playmakers is what we'll call them. These guys are all playmakers.
Yep.
And so the quarterback squad out there is a nightmare. They don't even know what's going to happen. I mean, I don't even know if I want to give them 3 weeks. I might give them the Bears not the Bears, how the Browns organize their quarterback situations over there. It's
with
one game. As soon as they're terrible, changing up the guard to the next.
I think there's so much pressure to get Trubisky out of this program that has to happen. I don't think it's even an option.
It's sad.
Yeah. But look, he's gonna be a backup quarterback in this league for 20 years. He's gonna bounce around team to team, but he is not an elite level And like this, I hope that this like sound footage comes back to haunt us, and he turns out he has the best season statistically.
He does an Aaron Rodgers,
right?
Just completely like it's ticked off. Yeah.
I hope that happens because it's good for the league to have more talent, but I don't think that's the case. I don't think we should spend another second on this quarterback room, other than saying Nick Foles is a late round flyer. If you want to find somebody that you know is probably going to start and that has potential to have 2 good wide receivers.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I agree. All right, so the running back situation in David Montgomery, Tariq Cohen, and
Cordero Patterson. This is a 3-back committee. And anybody who says that Cordero Patterson is not going to be involved has not been paying attention to the reports out of camp. Cordero Patterson has been taking reps with the ones, and it's not like David Montgomery's job is in jeopardy, but Cordero Patterson's taking enough reps that it's annoying for Tariq Cohen owners, and it's annoying for David Montgomery owners.
Mm-hmm. So David Montgomery is going the 24th running back slot, around Ronald Jones, Kareem Hunt, and Mark Ingram. I actually think Mark Ingram has more value than
I think every
David
one of those guys has more value than David Montgomery.
Yeah, even Raheem Mostert.
Raheem Mostert's probably where I would say, okay, I'm not crazy for Raheem's like backfield.
So those 2 guys are on the board. You have to choose between the 2 of them.
David Montgomery. I think that there is going to be a sophomore push here. We have to remember, David Montgomery stepped into this backfield and was the only player that had he should have had all of the value carries, and he really underperformed with them. But I think that you could see that sophomore jump where he doesn't feel like he doesn't hear steps behind him. He's got the job. Maybe we see a push, but I like him as a running back 3, or a running back 4.
Yes,
he's depth. He is not
definitely
your starter.
Now we have Tariq Cohen, who's more of your gadget plays, your Darian Sproles,
Sproles, but yeah, Darren Sproles.
Darian Sproles, interesting. I did Darren Williams.
I
did Darian Williams and Darren Sproles put together. What is going on with this drink? Potent brain, confusing my head.
You're going backwards in time.
This is what happens when you get to the bottom of it. They give you brain power, and then too much of it, now your brain goes backwards.
Yeah.
So, Tariq, any room, any reason to draft, even on a flex position?
No, I don't think so. I think that Tariq Cohen's his touches aren't valuable enough. He's going to have 3-4 games where he puts up real fantasy numbers, but for those 3 or 4 random games through a long season, you're going to have to use a bench spot on him, and it's not worth it.
Yeah. Maybe dynasty, super deep, like 16-man dynasty leagues.
That's it. That's the only way I'm like, oh, you know what I'm going to do? Draft Tariq Cohen. Even if he falls in the late rounds, I would rather be taking some late round flyers on some rookie running backs or some like backups rather than
for handcuffs
Cohen.
or something.
Yeah.
So the one thing that's going around, which is interesting and funny you mentioned picking up backups, is there's a strategy going around called the COVID picks. Which what that is that you're banking on the fact that the starting running back is going to get COVID. And then the backup is immediately valuable because then they have to start. There's no option.
I think that
it's kind of like
a little aggressive.
It's kind of like the Zeke Elliott situation where he did have it, but he's still going to start. Well, what happens if he gets it again? And so do you immediately take Pollard?
But he has 3 months immunity based on the current. So he can't get it again for at least 3 months. So that...
Okay, bad example. So somebody who never had it.
Yes.
So it's like maybe... well, in this situation, like David Montgomery. So what if randomly week 2 he gets it, and now Tariq Cohen
will never...
So Cordell Patterson then would probably step in the mix. So then
it's going to be a miserable... They'll trade for a veteran...
looking free
a
agency.
veteran running back. If that happens, because what's going to happen, what you've got there, Cordero Patterson and Tariq Cohen are both gadget players. Patterson's, a hybrid wide receiver. Yeah, there's no chance.
Okay.
Moving on to the wide receivers. Allen Robinson is a solid player. He is so undervalued. Last year he was in the top 10, which sneaky. I didn't know that. Like, when I was thinking back to last year, I was like, oh, you look at the big folks, and then where does Allen Robinson come in? Just right at the back. And I think that he is a serious value at wide receiver. He is going at the end of the third round, and he is certainly in that third tier of quarterbacks that includes Robert Wood, Tyler Lockett, Cooper Kupp, A.J. Brown. I really like him. Now, in that tier is also like OBJ and Adam Thielen. I prefer those guys, DeAndre Hopkins. But, if he's there at the end of the third, I'm seriously thinking about investing a pick there.
So then he has wide receiver 1 value, but we are assuming then that your team better have stacked running backs. You're not reaching him as wide receiver number 1 in the late first.
I'm going zero wide receivers. I don't even think I will take Mike Thomas, even though he is a transcendent player. I'm not going to be taking Mike Thomas if I have any other option on the board. That running back. Yeah.
Right, okay. So the funny thing interesting with Allen Robinson is he had an ACL torn 2017. 2018 wasn't the greatest year, and then last year he just 1,100 total yards, 7 touchdowns, 98 catches off 154 targets. So it's like, yes, top 10 wide receiver stats easily, but I think you mentioned this already, is that it kind of just, where'd that come from? It was just out of nowhere. And
you have to remember, before he tore his, so in 2016, he was a beast. He was routinely putting up 24 to 30 point games in fantasy. He was insane with the Jaguars that season. It was awesome. Like, he was a waiver pickup for a lot of people that season, and he won people their leagues until he got hurt. So Anthony Miller.
Anthony Miller, how you feeling?
Is a correct assessment.
Exactly. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. 10 get no.
No.
Anthony Miller. I mean, to be honest, I'm in a dynasty league where someone's got his rookie rights.
I would let his rookie rights go. I don't think he's in a top 5 pick for that draft that you're in.
Yeah. So he. Not even I don't even know if wide receiver 3 makes me feel comfortable with Anthony Miller.
He's a wide receiver 4, 5.
Right. He's a bye week fill in, and
not a super happy bye week fill in for me.
Right.
He's right at his projected ADP is the beginning of the 11th round, and he's 11th round. Okay, I mean, I don't know if I love it, but who else is going in the 11th? Like, Sammy Watkins is going around him. Mecole Hardman. I think I'd rather have those guys.
I'd rather have him. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's at the back end of your draft. I guess I get it. He's kind of just a throwaway pick in my opinion, but. And then you've got, Ted Ginn Jr., who's super old. And he's
I know fast. He's fast as all get out. I know he's extremely fast. There was that funny tweet, was it last year, where he challenged White Lightning to a 100-meter race. The kid who's running like under 10 seconds. He's a high schooler. You hear this?
No, I didn't.
The fastest kid in high school right now is running under 10 seconds.
Wow.
Yeah, his nickname's White Lightning. I forget his name. The only reason why I care about that was because I ran track in high school and college, and if I ever ran under 10 seconds,
you wouldn't be doing this podcast.
I would not be sitting here talking to you lovely people out there about fantasy football. Yeah. I'd be out there training other people, or you'd see my name somewhere else. But
and so just one thing to consider about Ted Ginn is that
Matthew Bowling. I'm sorry, I had to show his name up there.
Well, when we're back to Ted Ginn and fantasy football, the positive thing about, or the problematic thing about Ted Ginn is that he is a deep ball threat, or he is a deeper slot receiver. Neither of those are throws that Mitchell Trubisky can make right now. Nope. So he is irrelevant until Nick Foles comes in, and it's one of those things. We don't know the chemistry with Nick Foles and any of these players. What a terrible year for Nick Foles to come over. The COVID year, there is no rapport with any of these players. It's just going to be a slaughter show. I don't know if the Chicago Bears get 6 wins this year.
I agree with that. So the only person that we're saying is even worth looking at is Allen Robinson. That's it. Moving, and then just don't even look at
David Montgomery as a running RB3.
Oh, RB3. Okay, yeah. So later in the draft. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. But then we get down here and they've got their tight end core is Jimmy Graham, who is unfortunately over the hill. Cole Kmet, who is
over the hill.
Demetrius Harris hasn't performed, in years. And that whites out.
Yeah, I feel bad for Jimmy Graham. I feel bad.
I don't feel bad. He won a Super Bowl. And then he hopped over to Seattle. He's been on good he was on Seattle first, and then
Seattle first, then Green Bay.
Yeah, he's had a good career. That PCL injury that he took a couple years back, I don't think he was ever the same after that. But he's still, let's not weep for the millionaires. And so he certainly got paid. The other thing though about this team that I like is the defense. The defense is real.
Yep.
Roquan Smith, Danny Trevathan, Khalil Mack, Robert Quinn.
Yeah, they picked up Robert Quinn. So
Kyle Fuller. Eddie Jackson, Tayshaun Gibson. All of these players are players that would start on another team. They're all together. I think if Nagy can get his head around the defense and try to come and pull some magic from 2 years ago, they could slug it down the game enough where they're actually competitive.
Yeah.
So I like them as a 15th round defense to draft.
Yeah. So when you're looking for your defense and you realize that the trends of the draft are showing defense, look for the Bears if they're on there. But number 5th spot is what they're showing. So it makes sense.
Yeah. And they're going in the 15th round, which is where they should be.
Last or second to last.
And, if people make a run on defenses, any time before the 14th round, heckle them. Heckle the crap out of them.
Oh, yeah, don't follow it.
Stop.
Don't follow it. I'd rather go get Anthony Miller.
Yeah, I'm seeing some folks in the 10th round taking Pittsburgh and San Francisco, and they're just making huge mistakes because there is still deep wide receiver value in the 10th round. Yeah. And you could be getting a week 6 starting running back in the 10th round. So you I don't know what you're smoking if you have decided to draft the Pittsburgh Steelers defense there, but if you're doing it, stop playing fantasy football. It is a mistake.
No reason.
You can certainly have a good team and do it, but it is a mistake, and you are going to suffer for it.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So, thank you all for hearing Will rant about the Chicago Bears, and see Aaron tweaking out over there as his brain explodes with enough caffeine and brain juices.
This is my push for Bang.
I don't know why we're giving
Sponsor,
Banks so much
sponsor.
free posting here. I don't understand it, but that's okay. Well, thank you for watching, and we will talk with you next time.
Stay classy.